All right, guys, we're going to get into round 13 of the AFL. But first, let's see how we went last round. So I went 2 out of 7. Sam, you beat me. You went 3 out of 7. Not our best, but in our defense, it was a very tough round. There were a lot of close games and a couple of upsets, I would say. So in terms of our multi of the week, Sam, how did we go on that?
Oh, mate, this was a tough one. Like, really, really tough. We missed by one disposal. We've had Dan Houston, 22, needed 20. Josh Dacos for 20, had 23. Jai Newcomb for 20, had 26. Jack Sinclair, we needed him to get, 24 on tab. The actual bet had 25, but with tab's promo. We needed him 24. He got 23 and ruined it. But the rest of the legs hit, which is always positive. Liam Baker.
Are we going to blacklist Jack Sinclair?
We might have to. You know what? We might have to. He's just disappointed us that much that would have been a really good bonus conversion on that one. But, oh well, it's just a bit of fun. We don't encourage gambling, but it's always good to spice it up a bit and just have a bit of fun because we're hitting them at a pretty good rate. So that's all right. But, yeah, it was a tough one. So
we'll be cooking up another multi of the week for this round. We've done our analysis, done our picks. We'll get to that at the end of this, but let's get into the games this round. So first up, we've got the Crows versus Richmond. I'm picking the Crows for this one. They had an absolute lackluster performance against Hawthorn. That was a pretty embarrassing watch, especially because we were all backing Adelaide in the Discord. Unfortunately, they just played like pure shite. Like there's no doubt about it. I think the Hawthorn mids were just running circles at them. They had so many inside 50s in the first half. And then like they were just nowhere to be seen. Richmond, again, they put on a really, really good performance, showed a lot of character. They kept it up with Geelong. They were up quite a bit at one point of the game, but I think the Cats started turning on the Jets and they were able to just close it out pretty convincingly. But again, like good on Richmond, with the injuries that they've had, they've been battling it out against Essendon 2 weeks ago and then Geelong last week. So credit to them. Adelaide, they're heavy favourites. I think they'll get the job done at home. Dusty's being rested as well for the Tigers to play his 300th game in the MCG next week. So with that, I think I'm taking Adelaide for this.
Yeah, I'll be taking the Crows as well in this one. I think they haven't really performed up to the expectations that I think we all set for them coming into this season, but they are at home and they're the firm favourites in this game. And I don't really expect too much from the Tigers. Probably another lackluster performance, but you never know. Adelaide, like last week, was just abysmal from them. But yeah, I'm going with the Crows. They'll get the job done at home. So yeah, that's the Crows for me. And then we've got our next game on the cards. We've got the Dogs taking on the Lions. The Dogs are coming off a good win against the Pies. I backed them last week in our unofficial tips at the start of the video. So take the win there. Both teams have really lacked consistency this year. And they're both out of the top 8 at the moment. So I'm going the Doggies. The Lions, although the Lions do really need to win this game to try and make a push for the finals and in that top 8. But I don't know, yeah. Look for a big game from Charlie Cameron, for example. He likes playing at Marvels, so he should get plenty of looks for a couple of goals. But yeah, I'm going to go the Doggies in this one.
Yeah, I'm opposing you for this. I'm going for the Lions. Yeah, I think the Lions, it's more their forwards that have just let them down. Like Charlie Cameron, for most part of the season, can't kick a goal to save his life. Hipwood's been pretty ordinary. Danaher's being pretty ordinary as well. And there's only so much that Lachie Neale and Josh Dunkley can do for the Lions in the midfield. But I have the Lions to win this one simply because it is just a must win for them. Time's running out. They've got more pressure to win this game compared to the Doggies. Doggies have, picked up some impressive wins. They beat the Giants. They almost beat the Swans, or they've probably been the one of the only teams that gave the Swans a good run for their money, and then they just beat the Pies, even though Pies, got a few injuries, but it's still a big win. But this will be a really, really close game. Again, Lockie Neal versus Marcus Bontempelli, the Bont. So that should be a really, really fun matchup to watch. I think it'll be a really close game, but I'm taking the Lions to edge this one out.
Yeah, for sure, Rick. Then let's move on to our next game. We've got the Hawthorn Hawks taking on GWS. This one's in Launceston, I think, this game. So the Hawks, they've shown some improvement recently, but I think the Giants coming in fresh off a bye should come away with victory.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Hawthorn, I didn't really have much faith in them against the Crows last week. They proved me wrong. Didn't have much faith against them against the Lions, and they proved me wrong again. But I'm still picking the Giants over Hawthorn. I think, that rest is big for GWS. They do have a couple of injuries at the moment. But they were coming off a win against Geelong at GMHBA, which is quite a big feat, beating Geelong at Geelong. So that will give them a bit of momentum. Hawthorn, though, however, they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, which is quite impressive. John Newcomb's been really good for them. Will Dade, they've got some really solid young players. Hawthorn, and then Jack Ginnivan. Don't really enjoy the way he plays, but can't question, he's a talented young guy. Pretty good for their system, but I'm picking the Giants to win this one, and I think, they'll start making a bit of a push for those, top 5 teams as we progress into the season. And then after that, we've got West Coast versus North Melbourne. Sam, who do you have for this one?
Look, bit of an upset here. I'm going with Norths. I think they'll be quite competitive this game, especially with West Coast missing Harley Reid. And I think they've got to win one game this year. So I think they definitely know what's available to them. I can definitely see them getting a win here. I think Nick Larkey's in for a big one.
Nick Larkey ladder?
Yeah, Nick Larkey ladder for me. So, I think, Norths have got to win a game this year. So I think it's this one. They can smell blood. It's West Coast. They got this. No Harley Reid. They got this. What do you reckon?
I'm saying West Coast just because they're playing in the fortress of the stadium. But I think for Norths, this is probably the one game that they could actually win this season. Other than that, I don't know. This could be, if they don't win this, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't win a game at all this season. Surprisingly, though, I think North in some patches of games have looked really good. They've had quarters where they've been a really, really good side, but then they're not able to translate that for the rest of the game. So if they're just consistent with this game and they just cut their errors, they play with a bit more discipline, they're a bit more aggressive, getting the ball up the field, I can see them winning, but I'm taking West Coast for this. And then our next game, we've got St Kilda versus Gold Coast Suns. This should be another solid matchup. Sam, who do you have for this one?
Oh, yeah. Look, I don't know about this one. I was tossing up and turning, but nah, I'm just kidding. I'm taking the Suns. They had a great win last week at home. For some reason, they just seem to be a bit unstoppable at home. Look, who knows? But Suns.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I'm taking the Suns as well. I think Saints were due for a win last week, and they got it at the Fortress.
Yeah.
So that was an impressive win for the Saints. They were just on a really, really bad run during that time. They've got a bit of momentum now, but the Suns, they're not the best team away. They are a great side at home, but they just haven't proved. I think they've got a pretty shocking record away. But
have they won a game away this year? I don't even know.
I don't think they have.
Yeah, no.
But I think this is a game that the Suns can definitely win away. Saints, they've been pretty shaky all season. The Suns have just got to back up their performance like they did last week, beating Essendon. And they've just got to really just carry that momentum going into Marvel Stadium, and hopefully they get it done. I've got the Suns winning that. And then we've got a really, really good clash on Sunday. we've got the Swans versus the Cats. I'm really looking forward for this game. Sam, who do you have for that?
I've got the Swans. They're coming in fresh. They won 7 games previously. They've won their past 7 straight, sorry. I think Geelong, massive test for them, as you said. But I'm going with the Swans. Like, they've just come out this season, and this is a game that separates the boys and the men, right? Like, this is going to be a massive game. But, yeah, Swans for me. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I'm backing the Swans for this. Nicely rested last week, and they're coming into this game having won 7 in a row, and they've definitely been the team to beat all year. And they're also at home winning by an average of 37 points. So they've proven that at home they're fairly dominant with that. But again, I think it'll be a massive test for them. They're playing Geelong, sitting in third place in the ladder at the moment. Geelong, they were coming off 4 straight losses, but it was good for them to get a win back, even though it was against Richmond. They did start off really slow that game, but they still ended up getting the job done. So this will be a really, really good game. I think Chris Scott will definitely get into his boys for this game. So I actually expect this to be a really close game, but I'm taking the Swans. And then moving on to our next Sunday game, we've got Essendon versus Carlton. Melbourne derby. This should be a really good game. Sam, who do you have for this?
Oh, look, I know one of our listeners, Tyler, is a massive Carlton fan, so he's been rubbishing us because we haven't been taking him lately. But yeah, I've actually got Essendon to bounce back after their shocker last week. We expected more from them, and it was a pretty disappointing loss. So I'm going Essendon. Yeah, I'm calling it Essendon.
Yeah, Tyler, I'm with you. I've got Carlton for this. Yeah, they picked up a really, really good win against Port Adelaide at Adelaide last week on Thursday night, thanks to some Blake Acres magic.
Yeah, magic.
Yeah, that should give them some massive momentum going into the G against Essendon. Essendon coming off a loss at the Gold Coast against the Suns. Again, expecting this to be a really, really good matchup. Yeah, I can see this going down the wire, but I'm taking Carlton to edge this one out. And this leads us to our Monday game. We've got Collingwood and the D's. Sam, who are you picking for this?
Oh, I've got the D's to bounce back. You know, what was it, 96 points? Yeah, 96. That was a tough watch. That was a real tough watch. And I know the Pies don't lose like 2 in a row very often, but yeah, look, the D's, they're going to bounce back, I reckon. I've got them to pull through in this one. Like, Geelong are floating pretty well with the amount of injuries to their key players that they've had, but I think the D's, look, this will be a bit of a wake-up call for them, try to push back into that top 8. So I think this is a really pivotal point in their season after that thrashing last week they had. They're going to have to really step on business and show up this game against the Pies.
I can't believe that Collingwood and Melbourne right now aren't even in the top 8. It's scary how competitive the AFL is at the moment. But going to my prediction, I'm not taking your side. I'm going with the Pies, even despite their injuries. They're still able to compete against the Doggies, who've been in really good form. Starting to lift now during those games. The D's, they got absolutely dismantled by Freo in Alice Springs last week. That was not a pleasant watch at all.
Tough one.
But yeah, they've also, Pies just probably have a bit of a psychological advantage as well. They've beaten Melbourne in 8 out of their last 10 matchups, including when the Pies beat Melbourne by, I think, 7 points in the qualifying final last year. So psychologically, they've got the upper hand, the Pies, even with those injuries. But I think the pace of the game that the Pies play, I just don't think it'll be enough for the D's to slow down, who do play with a bit of a slower pace. But yeah, another really, really close game. I'm picking the Pies to get this one.
Yeah, nice. Well, we've got some different picks there, so we'll see how each other go. But I got the one leg up last week, so we'll see how that transitions into next week. I've got the psychological edge there, so.
All right, well, without further ado, we're going to get into the Playmakers Elite Multi of the Week. So last week, we only missed by 1 leg thanks to Jack Sinclair getting 23 when we had him for 25. We hit on every other leg. This week we're going to go one up and deliver the chockies for everyone that gets on it. So send us a message if you get on it, like, comment. We're really expecting this one to hit. So let's get into it, Sam. So we've got Daniel Rioli for 20 plus disposals. We've got Lockie Neal for 25 plus disposals. Jarman Impey for 15 plus disposals. LDU for 25 plus disposals. Ben Ainsworth for 15 plus disposals. Jez Cameron for 15 plus disposals. Blake Acres for 20 plus disposals. And Christian Petrarca for 20 plus disposals. Now that should be about $7.40 on Sportsbet. If you go on Tab, they're using the one-off disposals promo. So even if your player or these players fall one disposal short, you still get paid out. So definitely recommend putting it on Tab if you've got a Tab account. But that is our Playmakers Elite multi of the week. Hope that hits. And yeah, good luck. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.